Hello, this video is on the importance of understanding the original language. Now, I am not a Greek scholar or a Hebrew scholar, but I do know how to use reference books, and that's why the Strong's Concordance is so important. And I'm going to do this concerning a topic because Jesus said the two, he put everything down into two things: love God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and to love your neighbor as yourself. So what does it mean to love? And on another video, I think I've covered that in Greek and in Hebrew, they had different words for love. The love that a husband would have for a man would have for a woman, what you would have for family, what you would have for a friend, and God's love, which is always unconditional. When they use in the Greek, it's agape. The word is agape. And brotherly love, as you would have for a friend, is phileo, which is easy to remember. This city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, phileo, that's easy to remember. And I think this one here, the verses in John chapter 21, people don't fully understand because our language, love, we say we love ice cream, we love our children, we love our spouse, we love God, and it's, love, 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 and they're not the same. I don't love God the same way I love ice cream. It just, or my children, they're very different. And here, Jesus asked Peter, Simon Peter, or Simon son of Jonah, lovest thou me more than these? Now he's asking, do you love me unconditionally? But Peter answers him, in the English it just says, well, yeah, Lord, you know that I love you. But he's saying, I phileo you, I love you like a brother. Jesus asked, do you love me unconditionally? And Peter actually was saying, no, I love you like a brother. And that gets lost in translation if you don't know how to use the Strong's. Jesus uses lovest, which is, right there. And it's down here. And he uses the 25. And eventually he goes to 5368 in the Greek. And over here, Peter says love, not lovest. He uses the word love as we speak it now. And it's always 5368. And there is a lot of, this book is huge, so the print is very small. So I highly recommend, I have to use this, even when I wear my glasses, I use this little magnifying card. They are worth it. I bought several and I got them tucked away in different places. They're flexible, so they don't break. I don't have to worry about them breaking. And very easy to use. I've got one tucked away in my Bible, and I've got one, like I said, all over. But here you look up the words, what words you're looking up. Unfortunately, love and lovest are close together. And then you have the section here for the Hebrew words that are numbered. And if the numbers are italicized, which pretty much everything on the New Testament side is going to be Greek, so it's going to be italicized, goes over here. So you look up 25. Let's see. There. And you find agape, to love. And when you go in depth, you can find more, follow more. And the other, it'll tell you the root word or what other words that it comes from, to get a fuller understanding of this word, agape, which also in the King James gets translated as charity. Unconditional love and charity. Because when you love someone unconditionally, you give. And they translated that. So it's important to know what's happened in 5368. Goodness, I'm having a hard time just looking through here. I'm trying to film this. You get down to 5368, and it says phileo, to be a friend to. And it gets translated love. It's a close friend. It's not just any friend or, Facebook friends or things along that line. But people you really love. And not that I don't love my Facebook friends. I'm just saying there's different levels that I'm close to with different people, even on Facebook and in real life. But you won't get the whole message of what's happening in this situation between Jesus and Peter. And Jesus is really making Peter understand his level of dedication to him. And I've heard this incorrectly taught over and over because they didn't go back to the original language. Jesus, asked him 3 times, do you agape me? Do you love me unconditionally? Each time, Peter answered, I phileo you. I love you like a brother. In other words, he didn't love him unconditionally. It wasn't like that. And then in the end, Jesus asked him, do you phileo me? And at that point, Peter's like, you know all things. You know that I love you like a brother. And in here, Jesus is trying to teach him his own limits. And Peter was always the one that always put himself above what he should have. And he's great. And I think a lot of us have that zeal without realizing our limits. And we can't do it without Jesus' help. We can't do it. And it's so important that if you're going to study the Bible, if you're going to be a Christian, I'm not saying do it like I do, but I think it's important that you study. And study on your own. And if you have a question, you should have people you can trust to go answer those questions for you, or at least point you in the right direction. And when people teach something, especially like the word love, there's different levels of love. And to go back and say, which love are they using in this context? And even here, these little notes saying, lovest. And it says, have great affection for, in the footnotes. So the footnotes is like, well, that doesn't, in our language today, have affection for and love for are very different. When you have love for somebody, that seems a lot more intense than if you just have an affection, So be careful with even this, because that can be very misleading on what was going on in here. So go back, use your Strongs. I use eSword because I can blow up the text to where I don't even need to wear glasses to read it. So, excuse me for that. It's important that you look things up for yourself and question things. Nothing is off limits. I think if you are really questioning, not to be argumentative, but questioning because you don't understand, because you want to understand, it's okay. And anyone who's going to shut you down, find somebody else to go to. Seriously, if anyone tells you, just believe this, and don't look up any further, don't research this any further, be leery of that person. No matter how good and how respected they may be, I think that's dangerous, because God wants us to learn. Otherwise, God wouldn't have provided all this for us, especially in our information age. The Trinity. Honestly, I don't know. I'm still kind of out on that one. I am still researching that. I still pray about that one when it comes to my mind. And I've heard some of the most ridiculous things as people try to explain the Trinity to me. And I've gotten to the point where I think it's something more of a quantum physics thing, that they are one and yet they're very separate entities, and each has a different function, and God the Father is supreme. And that may offend some people, but that's just where I'm at, and I'm still learning. And I'm not going to put someone else down because they've gotten to a different level, or they hadn't gotten to even questioning certain things that I've questioned already. And just because I've gotten a certain level of answer doesn't mean that that answer is full or complete yet. I'm still studying, I'm still learning. And I think the reason I focus on this stuff is just that I'm trying to love better. I'm trying to understand what that means when you love someone unconditionally. I don't believe you're to be their doormat. And in some such situations, maybe, yeah, but I think overall, when you love somebody, you got to do what's right, what's best for them and yourself to some degree. So there's a healthy thing that I believe that God has helped me to get to that point where love sometimes means saying no, don't do that, or I'm not going to help you, hurt yourself. And other times it's sucking it up and sacrificing something you want so the other person can have something they want. So again, just look things up for yourself. This is not hard to figure out, and it's not a cheap book. It's huge. It's awkward, but it's good to have on the shelf so you can have a better understanding. But do check out esword.net, e-sword.net. It's free. King James, Strong's, all that stuff is on there for free. And get the King James reference version too, which is also free. But don't take my word on it. Don't take someone else's word on it. Do your own research. You'll be amazed at the stuff you will find. And even here, you know, there's footnotes in this Bible, which I paid extra. You know, you can buy a King James Bible from Dollar Tree, you know, $1. But it won't have footnotes. And the footnotes do help, but there's footnotes I have come in and just black crayoned over because I just know it was just so, to me, so wrong. And I've had people say, well, you know, those people went to school and they had all this education and they put those notes on there and you paid extra for that. And I said, no, because I just know that that is wrong. And I don't go around doing that to other people's Bible. It's my Bible, and I need to be on, you know, where I've learned and what I've done, or I'll just take a line and scratch through it and I'll put a note why. So that when I come back later and I go, well, why is that all blacked out? That I do have notes on there why I did it. So I think it's very important. I have no problems writing in my Bible. I think it's important to have your notes in some sort of system that you can go back to and reference or know that you've done it. You know, here I'm trying to, you know, this is agape, this is phileo, where that love is, that's agape, phileo. So that I don't have to look it all back up again later. Anyway, this is how I study, and I think it's very important that you find a way to study too. God bless you.